Amici, bentrovati, sono le 8:34 della sera qui a New York City, sono le 2:34 della notte lì in Italia. Per chi ancora è sveglio, siamo in attesa del presidente Trump che si sta per collegare dal suo golf course, questo bellissimo appunto resort in New Jersey, dove farà un piccolo intervento riguardo a quello che è accaduto oggi. Allora, intanto bentrovati, ci rivediamo esattamente tra un minuto.
Forget the past, live for the moment. We can't go back now. Forget the past, live for the moment. We can't go back now. It's only now, or never, now, forever, now, or never, it's only now, or never, now, forever, now, or never.
Allora amici, now or never, come sempre, adesso o mai più, o prendiamo in mano la nostra vita e cerchiamo di migliorarla e cambiarla, oppure qualcosa deve succedere per forza. Allora, siamo in attesa del presidente Trump che sta viaggiando dall'aeroporto di Newark, dove è atterrato circa 20 minuti fa, di ritorno da Miami, come sapete, e è in direzione appunto Bedminster, dove c'è questo suo resort bellissimo e dove a momenti farà un intervento, un discorso alla nazione. Allora, vi voglio fare vedere, eccolo qua, guardate. Allora, quello che vedete è praticamente la parte d'ingresso di questo grande, devo dire anche bellissimo resort, dove tra qualche momento il presidente Trump farà questo discorso. Sapete che oggi alle 3:27 ora locale di Miami, quando in Italia erano le 9:27 della sera, il presidente Trump si è costituito presso appunto la corte criminale di Miami, dove praticamente, amici, c'è stato questo ennesimo, chiamiamolo arresto, che non si può definire tale, anche perché sapete che non ha ricevuto le manette, hanno fatto una registrazione delle impronte digitali a livello elettronico, non gli hanno ritirato il passaporto, non è stato messo in nessun tipo di cella, è entrato insieme ai suoi avvocati e non ha detto una parola. La persona che vedete, questo signore con la barba, eccolo qui, praticamente è Smith, colui che sarebbe il prosecutor, cioè il diciamo pubblico ministero che ha portato avanti il caso e che ha formulato queste 37 accuse nei confronti appunto di Donald Trump. Quindi amici, capite che la situazione è particolarmente delicata, importante. Vedete che sta entrando proprio adesso all'interno del suo resort, dove ad attenderlo ci sono tantissime persone, anche perché questa sera è prevista una serata di fundraising, cioè lui pare che solo stasera raccoglierà circa 2 milioni di dollari per la sua campagna elettorale. Sapete che questi soldi servono come il pane, perché bisogna fare in modo che il presidente abbia della liquidità per fare degli spot, per promuovere la sua campagna elettorale. E sapete anche che in America non è che si possono prendere dei soldi personali e versarli in questo grande organizzazione elettorale. Tutto deve provenire dalla gente, tutto deve essere direttamente filtrato dalle persone, e questo è. Allora, intanto vediamo, sono arrivati al resort, tra qualche minuto praticamente il presidente dovrebbe appunto parlare. Guardiamo. Eccoci qua di nuovo. Amici, non so se avete visto, qualche secondo fa è venuta fuori questa fotografia assolutamente oltraggiosa, possiamo definirla, della Hillary Clinton, che attraverso l'accusa che è stata portata avanti proprio in questi giorni, ufficializzata oggi alla corte criminale di Miami nei confronti del presidente Trump, lei ha in un certo senso colto l'occasione per promuovere questo merchandise. È scandaloso, ve l'ho fatto vedere anche nella diretta di questa sera, dove praticamente, amici, lei non faceva altro che vendere, promuovere e vendere questo cappello qui. Ci sono anche le magliette but her emails, nel senso che lei, vedete questa faccia compiaciuta, si sente protetta e quindi si sente più forte. Ha fatto questa linea di merchandise, quindi di prodotti promozionali con cappellini e maglietti che citano appunto ma le sue email. Questa trasmissione che stiamo seguendo insieme, dove appunto poi interverrà il presidente Trump e cercherò di tradurre simultaneamente quello che dirà, perché sarà sicuramente interessante. Prima dell'atterraggio del presidente stesso sono intervenuti una serie di personaggi che sono davvero incredibili, amici, facendo delle analisi che sono del tutto plausibili, azzeccate, dove si capisce lo scandaloso doppio standard di questo paese, il turning point che dicevamo proprio prima, assolutamente dove siamo arrivati. E se ci si sofferma a pensare a quello che ha fatto Joe Biden insieme al figlio e insieme a tutto l'entourage della sua organizzazione da vicepresidente, con tutto l'entourage di Burisma, amici, credo che da qui a breve ci dovrebbero essere delle dimissioni. Sentiamo?
Obviously, we just got here, and he is feeling defiant. He is feeling ready to fight as usual, and he is feeling ready to win. And I think that's what's going to happen in 2024 after what they've done to him yet again today.
Alina Marsa è una delle avvocatesse appunto che difendono e seguono il presidente Trump, e vi garantisco che è una donna assolutamente eccezionale. Oggi, alla fine diciamo, di questa formalità, che non è tanto una formalità, ma soprattutto di questo rinvio a giudizio di Donald Trump, lei è venuta fuori e ha detto: siamo al giorno più brutto degli Stati Uniti d'America.
As they said, and did what he was supposed to do. As he always says, no one is above the law, but he abides by the law when it's applied correctly, when it's not applied selectively, when it's not applied politically motivated, and we'll fight this head on.
So tell me about the legal team. I know he's still interviewing and they're...
Dice lui è un combattente, continuerà a combattere, quello che è successo è vergognoso, però è assolutamente alto l'umore e tutto quanto. Ora gli è stato chiesto del legal team, sapete che 2 degli avvocati di Trump sono usciti da questa grande difesa e ora vediamo che cosa succederà perché sta cambiando la strategia.
Determination soon, but it's definitely not something that he should rush. It has to be the right person. They have to understand these very distinct issues. You know, we have the Espionage Act here, which nobody's seen because it was never applied in history. So it's a difficult situation. You have to pick the right people.
The president doesn't really adhere to a script. He has no two.
Allora, sulla questione degli avvocati, Alina dice non c'è fretta perché questi non sono dei processi che arriveranno presto, ci vorrà del tempo e quindi gli avvocati che sono usciti bisogna aspettare per vedere chi rientrerà. Eccolo qui, è arrivato, guardiamolo bene.
You saw the size of the motorcade that led him, the motorcycles, the police officers, into court. He stayed there a very short time, was let out again. Took an impromptu, we understand, stop at a cafe, then made his way out to his plane, where he took his time to taking off after a big motorcade brought him there. Flew back from Miami, right to Newark Airport, we understand.
Allora stanno facendo tutta la telecronaca di quello che è stata la giornata di oggi di Donald Trump, che cosa ha fatto, si è fermato al caffè per prendere qualcosa da bere e soprattutto per pagare a tutti quelli che erano presenti del cibo e delle cose da bere. È stato veramente fenomenale. Ha una stamina incredibile quest'uomo, perché dice, nonostante tutto domani compie 76 anni ed è davvero incredibile, inarrestabile. Guardate quanta gente c'è a questo bellissimo, ed è solamente da Trump che ci sono le presenze. Se voi vedete le iniziative di fundraising che fanno i democratici sono delle cene con un massimo 10-15 persone, chiaramente grandi donors, ma per il resto lui invece arriva dalle persone, arriva al cuore delle persone e cerca appunto di prendere anche diciamo piccoli contributi dai cittadini comuni.
The entire way. He'll play it all out. And then he'll speak up.
Allora, la didascalia dice Trump risponde a questo mai accaduto indictment federale, cioè accusa formale, accusa federale, quindi criminale, è qualcosa che non è mai successo nella storia degli Stati Uniti. Eccolo qui, è pronto. Sentite tutti gli gridano USA, Stati Uniti d'America.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you here. And today we witnessed the most evil and heinous abuse of power in the history of our country.
Dice, oggi abbiamo visto il più grande abuso di potere nel nostro paese.
His top political opponent arrested on fake and fabricated charges of which he and numerous other presidents would be guilty.
Dice, per la prima volta un opponente politico è stato arrestato da un presidente che è ancora nella Casa Bianca. Sono tutte accuse false. Questa è chiamata interferenza elettorale nella elezione presidenziale.
Political persecution like something straight out of a fascist or communist nation.
Per persecuzione politica come accade nei paesi comunisti.
The president who, together with a band of his closest thugs, misfits and Marxists, tried to destroy American democracy.
Biden è uno dei più corrotti presidenti degli Stati Uniti, insieme al suo gruppo di marxisti stanno cercando di distruggere l'America, ma noi non glielo permetteremo.
charging a former president of the United States under the Espionage Act of 1917 wasn't meant for this.
Questo
An
Espionage
act
Act
for a
è
crime so heinous that
datato
only the death penalty would
1917,
do, and
durante la prima guerra
threatening me with
mondiale, per la
400
prima
years
volta
in
un
prison
presidente,
for
un ex
possessing my
presidente è
own
stato
presidential
accusato di
papers,
questa cosa.
which just about every other president has. One of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law. The Espionage Act has been used to go after traitors and spies. It has nothing to do with a former president legally keeping his own documents. As president, the law that applies
Quello
in
che è
this
successo è
case
che
is not
praticamente mi hanno accusato
the
di spionaggio,
Espionage
come
Act,
si
but
trattano
very
le
simply the
spie, coloro che i
Presidential Records
traditori.
Act,
Questo che non ha
which is
nulla a
not
che
even
fare con un
mentioned in this
presidente, un ex
ridiculous
presidente che
44-page
legalmente cercava di tenere
indictment.
i propri
Under
documenti.
the Presidential Records Act, which is civil, not criminal,
Esatto.
I had every right to have these documents.
Dice, ho tutti i diritti
The
di avere
crucial
questi
legal
documenti
precedent
perché
is laid out in
qualsiasi
the
cosa
most
doveva
important
accadere doveva
case
essere
ever
una
of the
causa
subject,
civile e
known
non
as the
criminale.
Clinton Socks case.
Dice, non ci dimentichiamo il caso
You know
del
what that
Fox
means?
case di Clinton, dove
After
anche
leaving the
lui
White
aveva
House, Bill Clinton
trattenuto dei
kept
documenti.
79 audio tapes in his sock drawer. They included discussions of U.S. military involvement in Haiti, discussions of U.S. foreign policy, both defense and offense,
C'erano
against
delle
Cuba,
registrazioni di queste cose che ha
recordings of
tirato
President Clinton's
via
conversations with
il presidente Clinton,
all
dove
of
si
the many
discutevano anche
foreign
cose
leaders at the
importanti di
time.
difesa
Think of that.
nazionale.
Sensitive facts about trade negotiations taken from presidential briefings, discussions with the Secretary of State about conflict in Bosnia, and much, much more.
C'erano tutti
Very
dei
big
documenti
stuff.
che Clinton
Not
ha
only
portato
was
via,
Bill
dove c'erano
Clinton never
importanti
even
discussioni
considered
con il
for
segretario
criminal
di Stato,
prosecution based
documenti
on the tapes he
importanti
took.
che loro hanno portato via e
But
non
when
gli
he
hanno
was
fatto
sued
niente.
for them, he won the case.
Dice però quando
Judge
hanno
Amy Berman Jackson's decision states under the statutory scheme established
dice,
by the
quando
Presidential
Clinton ha
Records Act,
affrontato questa causa,
the
alla fine l'ha
decision
vinta.
to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president during the president's term,
Dice, ogni
and in the
presidente
president's
ha la
sole
possibilità di
discretion.
stabilire che cosa portarsi
Surprised
via,
to hear
che sta
that,
nella sua facoltà.
Any normal administration, even an opposing one, would
Tutte le
consider
normali
that to be
amministrazioni
the end, but not the corrupt Biden administration.
avrebbero fatto
The
altro,
Sox
ma non
decision, as
durante
it's
la
known,
corruzione
also states,
dell'amministrazione
quote, the
Biden.
National Archives and Records Administration, or NARA, does not have the authority to designate material as presidential records. I don't have the authority. NARA does
L'archivio
not
nazionale
have
non
the
ha
tapes in
l'autorità di
question,
stabilire
and
che
NARA
cosa
lacks
sono
any right, duty, or means to seize control of them.
quelle
This
che
is law.
sono i documenti
The
che deve
president
portare via
enjoys
il
unconstrained
presidente.
authority to make decisions regarding the disposal of documents. That's
Nessuno, tranne il
unconstrained
presidente, può decidere
to
quali
make that
sono le regole
decision.
per
Neither
prendere
the
i documenti.
archivist nor Congress has the authority to veto the president's decision.
Esatto,
The
nemmeno il
Presidential
Congresso ha la
Records Act
possibilità di dare il
does
veto
not
al
confer any
presidente.
mandatory or even discretionary authority on the archivist to classify records. Under the statute, this responsibility is left solely to the President of the United States. Think of that. That's the decision. Think of that. Now, just think of that. In other words, whatever documents the president decides to take with him, he has the right to do so. It's an absolute right. This is the law. And that is something that people have now seen, and it couldn't be more clear. They ought to drop this case immediately because they're destroying the country. And this is why no other president, even those who kept far more documents than I, has ever been even investigated, let alone charged with a crime. Because the sham indictment put forward by the Biden administration included staged photographs of boxes at Mar-a-Lago. Many people have asked me why I had these boxes. Why did you want them? The answer, in addition to having every right under the Presidential Records Act, is that these boxes were containing all types of personal belongings, many things, shirts and shoes, everything. As can be seen in the picture where someone, not me, I wonder who it might have been, dumped one of the very neatly arranged boxes all over the floor. They were full of newspapers, press clippings, thousands of pictures, thousands and thousands of White House pictures. The White House photographers, some are with us today. They took so many pictures and we saved all of them and they were in those boxes. Clothing, memorabilia, and much more. I hadn't had a chance to go through all the boxes. It's a long, tedious job, takes a long time, which I was prepared to do, but I have a very busy life. I've had a very busy life. They make it more busy because you're always fighting. And under the Sox decision, there seemed to be no rush. I wasn't in a rush because that decision was a law. The other picture that was so vile, you remember that one? It was angry and corrupt, was the photo staged by the FBI. And those that raided Mar-a-Lago, they were putting documents all over the floor. Remember that famous picture? All over, said confidential, said presidential, said all sorts of things. And it was supposed to be there like it was that way when they raided. It wasn't that way. They put them there, took the picture and released it illegally to the press. They took my medical records, my passport, my birth certificate, and apologized. They even brought a safecracker. This is a professional safecracker they brought into Mar-a-Lago. And they broke into my safe. And you know what they found? Nothing. There was nothing there. Nothing there. And zero. According to the Presidential Records Act, which was a big deal, I was supposed to negotiate with NARA, which is exactly what I was doing until Mar-a-Lago was raided by gun-toting FBI agents. I have security tapes of it. I gave them security tapes of everything in a flagrant violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which protects the right against unreasonable search and seizure. And Sebastian, you covered very well, I must say. Very well. I'm not the one who thinks I'm above the law. I'm the one that followed the law. I'm the only one. It's Joe Biden and his corrupt Department of Injustice who think they are above the law. Never before have the two standards of justice in our country been more starkly revealed. Joe Biden had troves of classified documents from his time as vice president and even as a senator, which was completely and totally illegal. In fact, other senators heard about it. Dick Durbin heard about it. You have to see his response. There's no way that's totally illegal. Took him as a senator out of a skiff. They were shocked when they found out. They actually thought it was impossible to do. Biden sent 1,850 boxes to the University of Delaware, making the search very, very difficult for anybody. And he refuses to give them up, and he refuses to let people even look at them. And then they say how he's behaving so nicely. Many of Biden's classified documents were in Chinatown, D.C., Chinatown, which is shocking considering his family receives so much money from China. I wonder how many times the friends of ours from China review those documents. Chinatown, D.C. Others were unsecured at his so-called Penn Biden Center in Washington, which paid Biden approximately $1 million a year. The money supposedly coming from China, and still other classified documents were strewn all over his garage floor, where his now famous Corvette is stored. He's so proud of that car. There was no security, and the door was left open. Most of the time, it was open. All of those classified documents, all of those documents strewn all over the floor, piled up like junk. Unlike me, who had absolute declassification authority as president, Joe Biden as vice president had no authority to declassify and no right to possess the documents. He had no right. Instead of falling under the Presidential Records Act, Biden's actions fell under a much stricter Federal Records Act, which has very, very tough criminal penalties. Yet nothing happens to Crooked Joe. Nothing happened. Have you heard anything about the big search for his documents? No, only me. Most infamously of all, Hillary Clinton set up an illegal private server in her basement. You never heard this story. With the deliberate intention of violating public information laws so she could hide her pay-for-play scandals at the Clinton foundations or whatever. Hillary stored vast quantities of classified and sensitive information on her illicit server. Some of it happened to leak. It leaked into Anthony Weiner's computer. Remember Anthony Weiner? Into his computer. You don't want to be on his computer. And all of it was illegal because thankfully she was never president. She didn't have the powers to declassify. Thank you. She didn't have the powers to declassify. It's a big difference. And neither did Joe. You know, Joe didn't have your mind. Have a drink. It's a little bit cooler than it was. It's pretty hot out here. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Great birthday.
And welcome to Hannity, and we continue our coverage of Donald J. Trump. He is at Bedminster. We have full coverage, analysis, my monologue straight ahead.
Nice birthday. Wonderful birthday. They were saying happy birthday. I was with Eric and Laura, the kids. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Happy. And I said, oh, I just got charged with, they went 400 years approximately. If you add them all up, a fake 400 years. Oh, thank you, darling. That's so nice. It's a wonderful birthday. We're going to make it into the greatest birthday of all. We'll make it into the greatest. When caught, Hillary then deleted and acid washed. Nobody does that because of the expense, but it's pretty conclusive. 33,000 emails in defiance of a congressional subpoena. Already launched. The subpoena was there, and she decided to delete, acid wash, and then smash and destroy her cell phones with a hammer. And then they say, I participated in obstruction? Now think of it. That's called obstruction. There's never been obstruction as grave as that. She did this in the face of everything, and yet nobody did anything about it. The FBI and the DOJ protected her, did not issue subpoenas, did not use a grand jury, did not execute search warrants, and then the corrupt head of the FBI, James Comey, declared no reasonable prosecutor would bring a case. Can you believe it? And it was just one of many items. Hillary Clinton broke the law, and she didn't get indicted. Joe Biden broke the law, and in many other ways we're finding out, and so far has not gotten indicted. I did everything right, and they indicted me. But, you know, we're serving as a great example. In the case of Bill Clinton's national security advisor, remember that? Sandy Berger. He was caught stealing classified documents from the National Archives, very big ones, very important ones, by stuffing them in his pants. That's pretty. And putting them also in his socks. And he destroyed them and cut the tape with scissors, cut them all up. What Berger did was highly illegal, but he was given nothing, no jail time, nothing happened. There are countless other examples. Bill Clinton, who I happen to like, hard to believe, right? Before I did this, I was actually quite friendly with him. Nice guy. They should have used him a little bit more as an advisor on the 2016 election. He said, you know, you better get to Wisconsin, you're going to lose. No, we're not. You better get to Michigan, you're going to lose. No, we're not. They did. Bill Clinton lost the nuclear codes, and absolutely nothing was done about it. He lost the nuclear codes. The George W. Bush White House lost 22 million emails, a record. NARA cannot assure complete transfer of any of the Bush records. A document shredding truck was spotted on the way to Dick Cheney's house. Can you imagine? Hillary Clinton took hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of furniture, china, flatware, rugs, and more from the White House, and she wasn't prosecuted. How about that one? She took the furniture and the china. How about if Trump did that? You think Trump would have a little problem? The horrific violations of my rights by crooked Joe Biden's weaponized Department of Injustice are unthinkable. It's unthinkable what's happened. So bad for our country. Democrats all, they lawlessly pierced my attorney-client privilege with lawyers. What they did to lawyers, what they have done to our lawyers, all of our lawyers, they've done things that were absolutely horrible and unthinkable. The leaking has been unbelievable and highly illegal. They leak. We've learned more about, from the Washington Post, New York Times, about the DOJ's boxes hoax. It's a boxes hoax. Than from prosecutors themselves. We want to read about it. You pick up the Washington Post, which is not doing well, or you pick up the New York Times. But they'll do better now because of these things. You know, this is the only way they survive, but they'll end up dying. But it's not supposed to be that way. We don't want to learn from the Times. We don't want to learn from leaks. We want to learn from the people we're supposed to learn from. It's like a leaking sieve in Washington. But we learned nothing about the Biden bribery scheme or special counsel Robert Hur's investigation. Robert Hur is doing the Biden investigation. He's a very respected, very nice person. Very nice person. Mine's not such a nice person. Mine's a deranged lunatic, which are many times the magnitude of ours in both number and severity. That's the prosecutor that they gave. He has found nothing. He totally exonerated Mike Pence. I'm happy about that. Mike did nothing wrong, but he happened to have classified documents in his house. But they exonerated him, and Biden is a different story. I mean, so much. You have to really think about what I said as a senator. He took all of those documents. It's unprecedented. The prosecutor in the case, I will call it our case, is a thug. I've named him Deranged Jack Smith. I wonder what his name used to be, Jack Smith. It sounds so innocent, doesn't it? Jack Smith. What's his name? Jack Smith. He's a very nice man. He's a behind-the-scenes guy, but his record is absolutely atrocious. He does political hit jobs. He's been known to viciously arrest a certain governor. You know the governor, Bob McDonnell of Virginia, and absolutely ruined his life and the life of his family. All these wonderful family members, I knew them, only to have the case overturned 8-0 by the Supreme Court. He destroyed that man and he destroyed that family. And by the way, I will tell you, I'm here and I love you all and we can take it. But what these thugs have done to my family is a disgrace. I will tell you that. I say it to all of the fake news because there's a lot of it back there. What they did to my family and that young man right there, he's answered more subpoenas than any human being in the history of the world. And you know what? They have nothing after all of those subpoenas. Literally thousands of them. Congress, fake counsels, Mueller report, all of this. All he did is answer subpoenas all the time. At least he's become very experienced at that. Congratulations. But Eric is fantastic, and what he and Don, Ivanka, and the whole group, it's what they've gone through, and these are serious people. These are serious people, but what he's done to my family, what they have done to my family is horrible. He also tried to railroad John Edwards on a completely bogus legal theory that didn't hold up in court. It's no wonder this raging lunatic was shipped off to The Hague to prosecute war criminals using globalist tribunals, not beholden to the Constitution or the rule of law. Two things Jack Smith clearly disdains. You take a look at this guy, he looks like a thug. But then I watched him make a speech the other day, and he was trembling because it wasn't his territory. He feels much safer in the inner sanctums of the Department of Injustice, where he can be in his room and scream at people. He's a raging and uncontrolled Trump hater, as is his wife, who also happened to be the producer of that Michelle Obama puff piece. Total puff piece. This is the guy I've got. Don't forget, this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people, much as if they were trying to destabilize a foreign country. From the Russia hoax, to the no collusion Mueller witch hunt, to impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, the 51 lying intelligence offers. How about them? They said it's Russia disinformation, and they knew it wasn't, which made about, according to some of the great pollsters that are right here, made from anywhere from a 10 to 17 point difference. And yet we still got more votes than any sitting president in history in the second election. And we actually did much better in the second election than we did in the first election. The fake dossier paid for by the Democrats. How about the fake dossier? Remember that one? I think that was easy to go home and say, "Hello, darling, how are you?" when they read about that. It wasn't easy at all. Spying on my campaign, we caught them spying on my campaign. The FBI, Twitter files, and so much more. It's all been a battle of disinformation, one thing after the other, and all to protect the radical left misfits. It's also no coincidence that these charges against me came down the very same day. Evidence revealed Joe Biden took a $5 million bribe from Ukraine. Took a $5 million bribe. But the FBI and the Justice Department don't even want to talk about it. They showed something on television tonight. It had 0 time on the 3 major networks, 0. But my impeachment had almost all the time. I think I had 351 minutes. They had no minutes. Okay? I think a lot of people are going to vote. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to vote. I will tell you, I just left Miami, and I've never seen love in the streets like that. I've never seen it. We've seen a lot of love. I've never seen love like that, because they know what we all go through. They know what we've gone through, and they see it, and they're smart. And, you know, many of those people coming from Cuba, Venezuela, other countries, they've seen this happening to their countries. I used to say that the United States, if it keeps going this way, it's going to be Venezuela on steroids. And now we're buying oil from Venezuela. Can you believe it? We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, but we're buying tar from Venezuela, and we're refining it in Houston, the dirtiest, worst oil probably anywhere in the world, and we're refining it. So you can imagine what's going up in the air, and our beautiful stuff we're not taking out of the ground and making a lot of money and paying off debt and reducing taxes still further, which we were in the process of doing. They want to distract from the real espionage and the real crimes, so let's use President Trump to do so. Let's go out and let's indict President Trump so they don't talk about the $5 billion bribe. Just yesterday, Senator Grassley revealed that the Burisma executive who allegedly paid the bribe reportedly has Crooked Joe on tape. They have 17 tapes, I understand. He must be a nice guy to deal with, right? The guy from Burisma, nice company. They got him and Hunter on 17 different tapes, supposedly. But the FBI isn't showing them. Remember, they impeached me for asking a simple question about Biden's corrupt dealings in Ukraine, and now they see that once again I was right. I was totally right. Joe Biden and the radical left can take foreign bribes and be totally protected. Republicans all, you must finally get tough. You've got to get tough. You got to get tough, and you got to show them. When you arrest your leading political opponent, we no longer have a democracy. When people are allowed to pour through our open borders and our elections are rigged, our country is in very serious trouble. When inflation is allowed to rage, when energy independence and dominance. We had independence and dominance. We were going to be soon very, very dominant. Within 6 months, we were going to dominate the whole world with energy, make a fortune. We were going to be paying off debt and lowering taxes at a level that nobody's ever seen. And they came in and they ended it. But when that's taken away from us, when interest rates and taxes spiral upward in an uncontrolled way, when murders are allowed to roam, murderers, these are horrible killers, murderers are allowed to roam the streets of our Democrat-run cities unchecked, but the incompetent district attorney in New York indicts Trump for a crime that everybody agrees, every pundit, everybody, there is no crime. But murderers go out and nobody ever even comes and knocks on their door, and they know they're there, and they know their rooms, and they know their locations, and they're roaming our cities all over. And some of them are coming in right now through our borders. But then you have a nation that, as we are, is in serious, serious decline. We have a nation in serious decline. If the communists get away with this, it won't stop with me. They will not hesitate to ramp up their persecution of Christians, pro-life activists, parents attending school board meetings, and even future Republican candidates, which they do. We must end it permanently, and we must end it immediately. Now that the seal, so important, is broken, the seal is broken by what they've done. They should never have done this. This was an unwritten rule. You just don't, unless it's really bad. But you just don't. But the seal is now broken. In addition to closing the border and removing all of the criminal elements that have illegally invaded our country, making America energy independent and even dominant again, and immediately ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. I'll have it ended in 24 hours. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family. Name a special prosecutor. And all others involved with the destruction of our elections, our borders, and our country itself. They're destroying our country. And when I'm reelected, and we will get reelected, we have no chance. We're not going to have a country anymore. I will totally obliterate the deep state. We will obliterate the deep state. And we know who they are. I know exactly who they are. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They want you silent. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.
Amici, abbiamo appena sentito questo discorso, ve l'ho fatto sentire perché c'erano dei problemi con l'audio che si sovrapponevano e quindi non si poteva fare una traduzione simultanea. Vi faccio un riassunto poi nella diretta che faremo domani mattina alle 6, quando qui sarà mezzanotte. Cercherò di mettere insieme quelli che sono i passaggi più importanti di questo straordinario discorso. Ecco, nelle situazioni come queste Trump diventa estremamente istituzionale, estremamente presidenziale, schietto, diretto, chiaro. Ha fatto una mezz'orata, insomma, di discorso straordinario, amici. Ha parlato di tutta la corruzione, di tutte le situazioni che hanno coinvolto Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, il figlio, Bill Clinton, dove addirittura pare che uno dei suoi più stretti collaboratori abbia rubato dall'archivio nazionale alcuni documenti classified, quindi appunto segreti, e li abbia arrotolati dentro questo calzino, tanto che poi divenne il caso del calzino. Presero dei nastri, li tagliarono, perché evidentemente c'erano delle informazioni che non dovevano essere diciamo promosse. Ha fatto tutta questa carrellata e chiaramente ha esposto il doppio standard che esiste all'interno della giustizia americana, dove dice questa ha soffocato praticamente 33.000 email, dove c'erano anche notizie classified e top secret. Biden ha preso soldi, la questione del figlio, i 51, vi ricordate, membri dell'intelligence che avevano firmato questa lettera, che il computer non era di Hunter Biden ma che era una Russia disinformation. Insomma, alla fine ha fatto questa carrellata e ha detto: oggi io sono target di questo dipartimento dell'ingiustizia. Dice, però aspettate, dice, lo vedete quel ragazzo lì, chiaramente puntando a suo figlio Eric, dice, quel ragazzo ha fatto più subpina, cioè è stato più lui interrogato, chiaramente sotto giuramento eccetera, dice, che chiunque altro. Dice, voglio dirvi che quello che hanno fatto alla mia famiglia negli ultimi 7 anni è atroce, perché quello che fanno a me è un conto, ma c'è accanto intorno a me tutta una famiglia che sta soffrendo. Ci hanno perseguitato, perché questa è una persecuzione. Ah, sentite.
Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Okay, what about us? At the very same time in 20...
Allora, avete sentito, lui era praticamente Jim Comey, ve lo ricordate, ex direttore dell'FBI che poi Donald Trump ha licenziato, e la frase che avete appena sentito è che quando lui nel 2016, durante la parte finale delle elezioni presidenziali, quindi quando già c'erano Trump contro la Clinton, lui fece questa conferenza stampa e portò alla conoscenza degli americani praticamente la stessa, uguale, molto peggiore vicenda di quella che stiamo vivendo adesso. Cioè, questa donna aveva un server dentro casa, perché non voleva che le sue email avessero una accessibilità, diciamo, da quella che è un regolamento diciamo delle istituzioni americane, dove c'è l'atto di trasparenza. E chiaramente Trump l'ha pure detto, ha detto, lei non voleva che nessuno entrasse nelle sue email, però magicamente arrivavano finanziamenti dall'estero verso la Clinton Foundation. Dice, perché l'FBI non è mai intervenuta, non ha mai indagato? Stessa cosa per Joe Biden, stessa cosa per Hunter Biden. Dice, oggi noi siamo qui a testimoniare il declino di questo paese e non ce lo possiamo permettere, non possiamo assolutamente far accadere questa cosa qua. Ha detto, quando saremo eletti, perché noi vinceremo, ha detto, noi come si dice, distruggeremo il deep state, annihilated, tipo come si potrebbe tradurre in italiano, lo faremo polvere, cioè proprio lo disintegreremo, ecco, disintegreremo il deep state americano. Dice, non solo, cambieremo tutte quelle che sono le varie agenzie dove ci sono questi signori, questi sono, dice, dei comunisti, perché questo accade nei paesi che portano avanti questa diabolica ideologia. Dice, quindi dobbiamo resistere, dobbiamo essere forti, questo non è un paese, perché non è più un paese dove c'è la giustizia uguale per tutti, non abbiamo un paese perché non ci sono le frontiere, non abbiamo un paese perché l'economia è distrutta, hanno portato come si dice, l'economia sta crollando per via dell'inflazione che è arrivata alle stelle. Dice, tutta una serie di cose, amici, che oggi dobbiamo assolutamente fermare, e lo possiamo fare solamente se torniamo alla Casa Bianca. Lui dice, tanto loro lo sanno che noi vinciamo, e la cosa che dobbiamo fare è stare attenti che non ci freghino nuovamente le elezioni. Lo ha detto, lo ha ripetuto, quello che è successo nel 2020 è assolutamente vergognoso, lui ha preso più voti la seconda volta rispetto alla prima e ha perso le elezioni. Quindi un discorso assolutamente straordinario. Sentite amici, anche questo è molto interessante.
17
17
such recordings. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot.
Now, former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker, who will join us in a moment, said these...
Amici, chi parlava in quel video praticamente uno dei più anziani senatori, Grassley, straordinario, amico di Trump, il quale oggi ha tirato fuori questi documenti all'interno del Senato e gli ha detto ci sono 17 registrazioni che giacciono all'interno degli uffici dell'FBI che parlano praticamente dove ci sono registrati le conversazioni tra Hunter Biden e i suoi soci del Burisma, Joe Biden con alcuni membri della, diciamo del board, quindi dell'amministrazione di Burisma. Ci sono le registrazioni, dice adesso dobbiamo tirare fuori tutto. Inoltre vi dico che oggi è stata presentata il secondo articolo di impeachment, ci sono tutte queste documentazioni che verranno articolate e allegate, si passerà poi al voto, ma amici io credo che oramai è questione di poco tempo perché l'indictment di Donald Trump, questo secondo sulla questione dei documenti classified, è passato. L'hanno riarrestato oggi per certi versi, quindi si è costituito, hanno stabilito che ci sarà questo processo, va bene. Ora la notizia va, come dire, passa in cavalleria, un po' in sordina. E adesso di che cosa parleranno? Che cosa faranno per distrarci, per non parlare di Biden e del figlio? Vedrete che nei prossimi giorni ci saranno sicuramente degli sviluppi, qualcuno addirittura pensa che ci possano essere delle dimissioni da parte di Joe Biden. La situazione è veramente, come dire, ci sarà un'escalation che sarà incredibile, ma se loro pensano di fermare in qualche modo Donald Trump, tutto questo non succederà. In questa festa, diciamo, che avete visto che adesso inizia lì in New Jersey, questa sera Donald Trump raccoglierà dei fondi che verserà sull'organizzazione appunto elettorale e si continua, mai fermarsi, anzi, come ha detto lui, non ce l'hanno con me, ce l'hanno con me perché io sono la vostra voce, non vogliono zittire me, vogliono zittire voi. Dice io fondamentalmente sono capitato nel mezzo, voi siete il bersaglio e io mi sono messo come schermo ed è questo il problema. Siccome colpiranno voi, stanno colpendo me perché vi rappresento ed è questa la chiave di tutto, amici. Allora, grazie per l'ascolto. Noi ci rivediamo tra qualche ora alle 6:30 del mattino, ore italiane. Vi racconterò nuovamente il sunto di quello che è accaduto oggi a Miami. Guarderemo anche degli stralci di questo importante intervento di Trump. Amici, lo so che molti di voi non parlano inglese, però purtroppo nella questione diciamo dei volumi non si ascoltava bene se io avessi parlato di sopra. Spero di avervi tradotto al meglio. Allora, appuntamento alle 6:30. Intanto mettiamo mi piace a questo video, scrivetemi anche un saluto veloce e noi ci aggiorniamo più tardi con nuovi aggiornamenti. Grazie a tutti, ciao.